John Paul the Great Catholic University opened its doors in 2006 to 30 students. Since then we have grown to 300 students, and our current facilities no longer support the number of students who want to attend Mass. As a Catholic university, a chapel is absolutely critical. The Eucharist is the source and summit of our faith. So having a chapel available and close by is really critical to our mission.
We have Mass in Classroom M. The classroom's not that big, so especially on our feast days and like holidays and stuff, like there's a lot of people out in the hallways who can't fit into Classroom M.
It's a classroom. There's a whiteboard up front. We're sitting in desks. It's not ideal for Mass, and especially because I'm in there at 8 a.m. learning history, and then I get a 10-minute break and then I go back in and it's Mass.
Very quickly after the Mass ends, it turns back into a classroom again. There's always this element of, oh, I have to go, because very soon I'm gonna get kicked out.
Just the space itself doesn't really lend itself well to the Mass.
And then there's another classroom space that we use as an adoration chapel. Just a small space that fits about 18 people, and it's also just not big enough. When I was events coordinator for Soul, we would have praise and worship nights in there, and we would have to take out all the chairs and pack all these people in, and it still just wasn't sufficient space. We need a space that's made for that and is big enough for that.
Back in late 2015, there was a push on campus to get a dedicated chapel. Looked around at all of the possibilities, and of all the buildings that were there, this was absolutely the one that would have suited best our chapel needs. And the day I went on the website, they had just listed it for auction. So I thought, wow, this is really good. Good timing. Not only was it not being needed by the school district, but they were selling it. So the proximity is a key feature. It's next door to property that we own and that we're going to develop. Step number one was purchasing the building, which we have done. Step number two is designing the interior of the building. That project has been funded. Then we've got the most expensive part of the project, which is raising the 4 to 5 million that we need to totally renovate the building and get it to dedication. Other schools like us have spent on the order of 25 million for a chapel. But for $5 million, it's an absolute steal that we'll get such a beautiful 5,000 square foot chapel that'll house 300 students.
We as artists want to give our best to God. You know, we want to give the most beautiful things we have to God.
A space like a chapel, somewhere with art and silence and the presence of God, is somewhere that just by nature sparks creativity and encourages imagination.
A well-designed church is supposed to be something where your eyes will wander and they will always find God. They will always come back to the monstrance, and they will always come back to the tabernacle. And I think that's one of the big importances of a chapel itself, is it needs to be in itself a work of art. And good artwork will lead you to God, ultimately.